Hi, welcome to the Room for Reinvention podcast, where I talk with people who share their reinvention story. On today's episode, I have Kata Szal. She is the owner of Contouring by Kate, a med spa that she opened up in the South End in Boston. She shares a story about how she was a registered nurse and she ended up partnering with some doctors to open up a med spa. And she worked two jobs for 3 years, over 80 hours a week, more than a 2 hour commute. And after 3 years, she took the leap, left nursing, and started her own business and became an entrepreneur. So let's listen to her story. Hi, Kate. Thank you for being on the episode today.
Hi, Kim. Thanks so much for having me. So I am a nurse practitioner. I have been a nurse practitioner for about 17 years now. And for the first 14 years, I worked in neurosurgery and vascular surgery. I did a lot in the hospital, a lot of surgery. Then I worked at a private practice. And, it's a very taxing, heavy field. And I just found myself kind of getting a little overwhelmed and needed something a little bit happier in my life. So about 5 years ago, I started doing aesthetic treatments on the side.
Oh,
I started with like Botox and fillers and Coolsculpting. So
nice.
I opened a kind of like a little med spa, but it was like an hour away from my home where I was working. And I did it with two of the doctors. But it was really difficult because I was learning a lot and I was learning how to grow a business, which I had no idea.
Yeah, completely different.
Right. But it was difficult because it wasn't in an area that I lived. I didn't know anyone like in the town. I wasn't familiar with businesses to cross promote. So after doing it there for about 3 years and being a little overwhelmed with the medical side of things, I decided to quit my job and open my own med spa in Boston, which is where I live.
Oh, wow. Oh, so you were doing both. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, so I was working about 80 hours a week. I was just
my.
so stressed and anxious and 2 hour plus commute every day. So I was just like, you know what? I'm going to bite the bullet and try to do my own thing.
Wow. And so now you're in Boston.
Yeah, so I've lived in Boston since 2003. And I've been in the South End for about 14 years now. So I'm very familiar with the community and, businesses. So I was looking for a space in January of 2020.
Oh, yeah.
You see where this is going?
Yeah.
And my upstairs neighbor actually had been going to this hair salon down the street from where I live for a long time. And they were looking to bring someone in, another business in their back room.
Oh, perfect. Where are you located now?
So it's called, the hair salon's called Pure Hair Design. It's on Harrison Avenue in the SoWa district of the South End.
Oh, cool. And that's where you are currently.
Yeah. So it was just one of these fluke things where she was like, oh, they're looking for a business. It's just one small room. And I'm like, that's all I need. I want low overhead. And it's two women that own the salon. So they're, very female entrepreneurship and very supportive.
Oh, that's cool. And you do Botox as well as the Coolsculpting?
So I started off doing Botox, fillers, Coolsculpting, and then I bought an M-Sculpt machine. And
what's that?
M-Sculpt helps build muscle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How does it work?
So it uses electromagnetism. So a lot of people have had physical therapy where they put those little electrodes on your body to stimulate the muscle. And that uses like a little Duracell battery. The M-Sculpt machine is 2 Tesla, which is like the strength of an MRI.
Oh, wow. I think I've seen this before. Do people do it on their butt? Yes.
Yes.
I saw one of the housewives do it.
Yes. Very popular. Yeah, you can do it on the abdomen, the butt, the arms, the calves, the thighs. And it's not a replacement for physical exercise, obviously. I'm a big proponent of healthy lifestyle, but it can kind of take your results to the next level.
Yeah, that's cool. So, okay, so you were a nurse before, and how did you get into this, the first venture with the other two doctors? Was it something you were thinking about doing and you wanted to see how did you find those partners to make that decision?
So they basically were just supporting me because I was working for them on
Mm.
the medical side of things. And personally, I just was really interested in having treatments done on myself.
Hmm.
I've worked out my whole life and I still had this little lower belly fat that I couldn't stand. I couldn't get rid of, even though I was at my like goal weight. So I found out about Coolsculpting and they came in and did a treatment on me and I was amazed by the results. And I was like, I need to share this with other people.
Wow.
So we bought the machine and I just started doing the treatments.
And so when you left the partnership with them, do they still run the spa without you?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah. Okay. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that for a lot of people that are thinking about changing careers or making a jump like you did, it's scary, right? Because you're like, there's been a lot of people on the show that have kept their original job and done the other thing on the side. And it sounds like that's what you did.
To start.
Yeah. Okay. And then you really liked it. And I think the biggest hurdle, what's not for me anyway, running my own business is the business side of it. Right. Cause it's like,
Absolutely.
I'm a creative but having to, it's the majority of it is business. And sometimes you don't realize that when you want to do something that you love. And is that something that you encountered as well?
Oh, absolutely. That's why I was kind of lucky to kind of like dip my toes in it before I completely went out on my own. So I had learned a little bit. And then I was scheduled to open in March 2020. And obviously, that's when the pandemic
Mm.
hit, closed us down. So I really used those 3 months that I couldn't be open to teach myself Instagram. And so
Uh,
it was a free advertising marketing thing. And I had absolutely no clue. So I just watched videos and took classes and really just spent those 3 months building up my following and gaining interest so that when I could open, I would therefore have some clientele already knowing about me.
yeah. Yeah. I think that was the hardest part for me as well, because you're like, okay, I want to do, like, for me, photography, but you're interested in the, beauty spa and med spa. Is you have to be a marketer. You have to know about, lead generation and social media, your website, building out your website. I mean, I hired people to help me with those things, but starting out, I don't have someone that can do my marketing for me. I think that whole thing can be overwhelming. And if you're not prepared beforehand, I think that's where some people, they kind of like trip up and then they're like, oh, forget it, this isn't for me. So I think, like, based on what you're saying, the advice is sort of, if you do want to do something, start out doing it on the side. Don't leave your main job unless you can, and financially
Right.
that makes sense, right? But really talking with people like you, like me, and other people that they know in their network that have started their own business, what it's like, because it's a lot different than what you think, right?
Oh, that's absolutely. And that's the thing, finding other, I really kind of capitalize on the women thing, but trying to find other women that have gone through similar situations and what advice they can give. And I think the big thing for me, that I actually learned from my husband, because he started his own business 10 years ago,
Oh, cool.
was to just try to figure out how to keep the overhead as low as possible.
Mm,
From what you don't want to go and have, $15,000 in rent and have all these employees that you have to pay. Like, just start small and build it so that you don't kind of jump in too quick.
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, a lot of people, when I first started my photography coaching, I was in a group with the coach. That's exactly what she said. Some people don't think that they have to go out and get this space for a studio. And then, yeah, you have overhead and the stress of, instead of like it being organic and, you're not as stressed and you're getting clients in. Now that's all you're focusing on. So it really affects the way that you're servicing people, because there's that sort of desperate need.
Yes.
So yeah, starting small, or like for me, as a photographer, there's a million studios that are available to rent, like for just a certain amount of time. I don't have to do it monthly, which
Right.
is good.
Yeah, and all businesses have ebbs and flows, so you don't want to
Yeah,
have
exactly.
a slow period of time and be way over your head.
I know that is scary. And so, okay, so now you're in Florida, but you're
Yes.
not living there. Is this a vacation?
We have a condo down here, so we come down for the winter.
Oh, snowbirds.
Snowbirds, a little young for it, but we love it.
Ah,
Um, and basically, it's a slower time of year for aesthetics. The end of the year, people getting ready for the holidays is really, really busy. So I fly back a couple of times while I'm down here, and I'm
nice.
just very open and honest with my clientele, saying I'm going to be away, but these are the dates that I do have available, and if I need to extend them, I will. So I just come back and I work my little butt off for
Yeah.
4 days and, and then come back.
I'm sure you're probably swamped before the holidays, and then it's a nice way to take a nice break.
Exactly, because then come March, I'll be back in a couple weeks for good. But come March, that's when people are kind of getting excited for spring and summer, and they're starting like, okay, I need a
Yeah.
little touch up. I need a little help.
So, well, there's one of the perks of owning your own business. It's right. There's the pros and the cons, but this is a big pro, being able to set your own schedule or, during that slow time. I was a realtor in another life, and I can remember the slow January, February, but it was perfect because we'd be slammed for the fall, and then come January and February, we could take a break.
Exactly.
Yeah. So why don't, if you could tell us more about your spa, because I'm in need of visiting you. So, but yeah, it would be cool to know a little bit more. Like you do Botox, the Coolsculpting, and fillers, right?
And the M Sculpt, and then this fall I bought a laser. So I started doing laser treatments, which I found really complement the other services that I offer. I had a lot of clientele asking me, recommendations where they should go for laser, and I was like, you know what, I need to capitalize on this.
Yes.
Works out perfect. So it's called Tetra Cool Peel Laser. It uses CO2 technology, which is actually one of the oldest lasers that's out there. It's actually been around since like the 80s.
Oh, wow.
Amazing results, but had huge downtime. I'm talking like maybe like a month and a half of downtime.
Oh, wow.
But the results were almost like a facelift. So, but who can afford that much downtime?
Yeah.
So basically, this company designed this laser using that technology, but with much, much less downtime. And there's a wide array of treatments. So if someone's super young and just has a little bit of sun damage, they'll look almost normal the next day.
Okay.
But if someone's a little bit older and needs more like skin tightening and resurfacing, we can do a stronger treatment, and they'll have generally about a week of like what I call social downtime.
Right.
But you can put makeup on after 24 hours, so it's much, much better than the older technology.
Have you ever heard of, is it called frackling?
Fraxel laser.
Fraxel laser. I have a friend that does that. Is that similar to this laser or no?
Yeah. There's just a
Okay.
bunch of different ones out there that just kind of use different technologies, but
Oh,
similar.
wow. Okay. And the name of your spa?
It's called Contouring by Kate.
Contouring by Kate. I love it. So when I put this out, obviously your information will be in there, so people can go to your website and see all of your services. So do you have to end our interview? I just always ask people if they have advice for anybody that's thinking about, reinvention can be reinventing your whole life or reinventing your career. And so I have a mix of both. I have some people who have reinvented their lives, gotten divorced, and totally, completely changed how they live. And then others who, have reinvented their careers to like yours is the perfect example because you were a nurse, you loved working and helping people, but it's taxing and it's draining, and being able to start your own business, um your successful business is a dream for people. So anyone that's kind of on the fence, do you have any advice for them?
I'd say a couple things. First of all, you got to do what makes you happy. We learned a lot from COVID. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You only live once. Why are you going to be miserable in your job? So you really have to kind of like follow your heart and your passion. And the other thing I'd say is really reach out to other people. People have been in your position.
Mm,
You don't need to reinvent the wheel.
yeah.
Talk to other people. I find that things in the past maybe were a bit more of a dog eat dog world, and that's kind of there's a big shift. You can reach out to people that are even your direct competition and
Yeah.
help there.
I agree. I think 2020 was the big reinvention, and I stole that name from NPR. Had a podcast on it, but it really was. It was a time where people were like, "Oh my God," it showed us how fleeting and fragile life can be. And if you've been on the fence or you're not happy with your job time, it's too, if not now, when it's
Right.
too short. And there are a lot more people who are either have a side gig or they have started their own business. There's a lot more entrepreneurs. So I think you're right. There is less of that, cutthroat, like not wanting to share. People are a lot more open and supportive and wanting to help other people because we're all in service for each other, right?
Right. And that's what we always, like, it was one joke with the Coolsculpting. We say, there's enough fat out there for everyone.
Yes.
Same thing with Botox. There's enough wrinkles out there.
Exactly. Matter of fact, I can't wait to get off here and go on. I'm looking, when you look at yourself online, you're like, oh.
I'm sure COVID helped us as well, because a lot of people had never done treatments before, and then being on camera every single day looking at their face, they're like, oh my gosh, this is what
Oh, yes. That's really great for you. Uh, Good marketing. All right, Kate. Well, it's been wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. And I know that all of these, interviews or talks that I'm putting online are really helping other women. I've gotten feedback, and I think that once they hear more stories like ours, there's less fear and they feel inspired. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. I enjoyed it.